How many times have you been asked, what do you want to do when you grow up? My name's Izzy Garter, and I understand that sometimes the pressure to be able to answer that question can feel overwhelming, especially when we're not given that much guidance. The problem is that our country's education system has become focused on exam results. We're seen less like individuals and more like a tick or a cross in a box that says pass. This leaves us without the skills or knowledge that we need to be able to choose a career that we find meaningful. But I say we should be able to invent our own futures. We should be given the support and resources we deserve in order to make these important decisions. That's why, if I'm elected as MYP, I'll campaign for more engagement and opportunities with further education, such as apprenticeships and universities. We should get quality advice from successful business people, artists, athletes and more who have made it in their specific field. And we should be given work experience so we're not blindly choosing out a career we might not even enjoy, because we are more than a pass or a fail. We are creators, we are entertainers, we are problem solvers and carers and leaders. We are sports people and business people, but more importantly, we are the future and we deserve to be treated that way.
My campaign is all about inequality, which centres gender inequality, racism and inequality of opportunity. Now, before we carry on into this video, I want to ask you, ever judged yourself because of your race, affinity or what simply makes you you? Well, you're not the only one. Did you know that more than 54% of young people have experienced inequality in their schools and communities, and that the remaining 46% are uneducated about this conflict? Are you one of them? I've consulted with many young people, and the 3 top things I want to achieve in order to tackle inequality is to send videos to schools that can be shared in your PSHE lessons with resource packs, as well as getting involved with organisations such as Everything Human Rights, and preparing workshops in communities and schools, as well as making curriculum lessons that can be shared in your schools. This is both in primary schools and high schools, as the earlier we educate, the better. Now, I can guarantee that some young people listening to this have experienced inequality. However, remember that each of our differences unite us to make us one. And if you want to construct a positive, firm, solid future, change starts now, and that's with you. As the more youth recognise that they have a voice, the more change is possible. And now remember Mahatma Gandhi's quote, "In a gentle way, you and I can shake the world." Finally, I can assure you that I will be your standing voice, representing your views nationally and regionally, whilst being an excellent, reputable role model. And I'll tell you what, inequality is a fact, yet equality is a value. This is why I'll proudly fight to make change in order for us to recognise, accept and celebrate those differences. Thank you, and vote for me, Leanne.
In the UK, 2/3 of women identify as feminists, including young women. By both men and women, these people are identified as man-haters, which simply isn't true. A lot of these people have campaigned for equal rights for both men and women. It's just painted in a negative light. If change is your thing, then I'm your MYP. My name is Mia, and I'm campaigning for the education, spread and change feminism. As a feminist myself, I'm extremely concerned for the lack of education with feminist views. Most people think, especially online, that this is a male oppressive society and a male oppressive group that wants females to be everybody else. It's honestly not like that. Feminism is for everyone, since men and women both get raped on the streets. Both men and women get harassed online. Both men and women get harassed on the streets for what they believe in. It's even proven that males are healthier in equal societies as the stresses of being above aren't upon them. Male suicide rates are at 16.9 per 100,000. It's too high, it's shocking. Whilst female suicide rates are only at 1.3. Most people believe that this is because of the pressures of being a macho male. Honestly, this shouldn't go on. It's not healthy for the males. It's not healthy for anyone. Do you agree? Do you agree that we need a more gender equal society? If so, vote for me as your MYP.
Hello, I'm Alex, I'm 13 years old and I want you to vote for me to become the next MYP for Wigan and Lee. Do you know that the NHS recommends around 60 minutes per day of exercise, with only 48% of people not even reaching this mark? It's proven that sports and exercise and other activities such as these have a positive impact on your mental health. In Wigan, 2,108 people took part in a survey. 53% said that exercise improves their mental health. The pandemic has largely affected all this. Children and young people was no longer in education, and sport and activities was just a dream. In addition to all the closures, exercise and mental health took a huge cut. 1 out of 6 people now suffer with mental health issues, which has clearly gone up. Since 2019 it was 1 in 9. This is making it clear that the pandemic is clearly affecting people's lives, and now this is where I think exercise and sports can take a full role. If you vote for me, I shall spread awareness on sport and activities throughout the borough, such as kicks and targeted youth support, educate more young people about the link between mental health and exercise, so they feel that they're more likely to be more resilient if they ever come into such battle. Vote for me if you agree that places such as CAMS and other mental health services are not the be-all and end-all, that other community groups that can just give you a quick kick about and talk to your friends can more likely help, even if you don't know where they are yet. Thank you. Please vote for me, Alex.
Hello, I'm Joshua Delvard and I'm running for you as Member of Youth Parliament. Recently, I created a survey and sent it out to my school and carefully selected problems my school voted for. The first point I wish to raise is around mental health in social media, as 10% of my school said that they find social media to be positive, while 76% said sometimes, and 14% said they find social media to be negative overall. A large issue in our society around social media is bullying and influencing. The second point I wish to raise is another suggestion voted on by my survey, which links to a wide range of problems, introducing more activities for you to do in and out of school. A prime example being Wigan Youth Zone and Lee Youth Hub. A large problem that I have and others in my survey is finding things to do other than sports, which is why I wanted to implement new activities like social clubs, communities or mental health groups for all to access in the borough. So I urge you to vote for me so I can achieve all of these things, as I have based my manifesto on the issues voted on in my survey. Thank you very much.
People day to day are bullied, patronised and alienated due to bullying. 1 out of 5 students will be bullied in their lifetime. Do you think this is acceptable? Absolutely not. I'm Gracehurst and I need you to vote for me to stop bullying. Disabled people in particular are a target of this abuse, simply because they need support and extra aid to help them in their day-to-day lives, just to make it easier. I know this from personal experience as I have a disability. Vote Grace for a more accessible, inclusive, supportive borough. I will tackle abuse effectively by asking schools to educate those students on disability awareness and using appropriate language, as some people might not be aware they are causing offence. Support will be provided for young people and their parents. This will create a safe space where they feel listened to and supported. All I want from you or someone you may know is to feel supported. I know I can confidently tackle these issues. It starts with you, so vote Grace. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ben. As a Member of Youth Parliament, I will champion Votes at 16 and engaging young people in senior decision making. Votes at 16. Throughout my role in Youth Cabinet, I have engaged with politicians and councillors to help push Votes at 16. I will effect change through engaging with organisations like British Youth Council and Votes at 16. This will give young people a much needed voice. As Scotland and Wales have gained the vote and 1.6 million people are without the vote in the UK, I leave you with this question. If 16-year-olds can go to war, why can't they vote? Senior decision making. Throughout my role in Youth Cabinet, I have engaged with councillors and MPs to help give young people a voice. Do you feel ignored by your councillors or MPs? You aren't alone. I will help promote your voice in schools by setting up effective school councils, and on the local level by engaging with councillors and MPs. Nationally, I will help by speaking to the House of Commons and further MPs to help promote your voice. This will give all young people a voice on any issue, however big or small, whether the colour of your tie or more recreational things to do for young people. I will help your voices be heard by senior figures. So vote for me, Ben Robinson, your NYP.
Hi, I'm Tom and I'm running to be a member of Youth Parliament. Climate change. Currently everyone is talking about it, but not doing enough right now. COP26 will hopefully bring change, but change also has to happen for each and every one of us. And education is key to bring about that change. If temperature increases globally as predicted just by 1 degree, this will have a massive effect on how we and our future generation are able to enjoy our lives. More education is needed in schools. Some schools only have 30 minutes of a chat about climate change. This time is not enough to enable students to understand the gravity of the situation and learn and how to change the behaviour so when the time comes we can make those changes that our current leaders are stalling on. I pledge to work with the senior decision makers to make lesson plans that centre on climate change and ensure that these are facilitated in every school within the borough. Vote for me, Tom Mercer, and I will bring about the change.
There is a universal problem in our schools with sexual harassment and sexual violence, which represents a twisted culture of sexism and disrespect. And as of now, schools and the government are doing nothing about it. It's time for this to change. My name is Jacob Owen, and if you vote for me as your Member of Youth Parliament, I will combat sexual harassment in schools by cutting the problem off at its source. 59% of young women aged 13 to 21 say they've experienced sexual harassment at school in the past year. And a new report from Ofsted shows that many girls don't even bother reporting incidents of sexual harassment to their teachers because they know it won't be dealt with properly. As your Member of Youth Parliament, I will utilise Curriculum for Life to educate all students about sexual harassment and sexual violence, as well as feminism on a wider scale. The current sex and relationships education programme in the UK doesn't include nearly enough information about pornography as a driver of sexual violence, what sexual harassment actually is, and the real-life consequences of these incidents. Furthermore, the role of the patriarchy in perpetrating sexual harassment is not talked about at all anywhere on the curriculum, a sign that we are failing. Sexual harassment is not a series of isolated incidents, it's rather a symptom of a society that forces us to believe that women are lesser than men. It is also crucial to acknowledge the everyday violence and harassment faced by trans women. This is an issue which is often overlooked by the government and schools alike. These are the difficult conversations that we need to have in order to rid our schools of sexual harassment, and these are the difficult conversations that we will be having if you vote for me as your Member of Youth Parliament. I will also work alongside local youth voice groups and organisations in order to ensure that schools are doing everything in their power to protect their students from harassment and violence. I will make certain that every student is empowered and encouraged to hold their school and their local decision makers to account. If you want to protect young women and girls from sexual harassment, violence and rape, and live in a borough where women can walk through the street, through a school corridor or through a park without being harassed or abused or in fear of violence, vote for me, Jacob Owen, as your Member of Youth Parliament, and we can solve this problem together.
Hi, how are you? I'm good, fine, sad, or scared. It's okay, these are emotions. But do you always feel alone or insecure? That's not okay and can lead to problems with your mental health. I'm Kaya, I'm 13 years old and I want to fix this. Statistics have shown that 1 in 5 people that have went to schools have had mental health issues. For my campaign, I wish to deal with this by focusing on schooling and bullying. For schools, I wish to put an optional free tutoring to help those who can't do some homework or want to practice for an exam. For bullying, I wish to have a system with the help of our council to include recovery programs for those who have suffered. These are the things I will do as a member of Youth Parliament. So vote for me, Kaya, to fix schooling, bullying, and know what overall happier time. You won't regret it, I promise.
For the past few years, I have worked with the British Youth Council, the Royal Horticultural Society, and Lancashire Wildlife Trust, along with many other local, national and international organisations to provide real change for our environment. More education as to the mass contributors towards climate change, because it is the richest people who contribute the most to damaging the environment. However, it is the poorest people who are the most affected. The establishment of a union or eco-assembly focusing towards representing all of the local community, but especially young people, to ensure that enough action is taken towards positive environmentalist change. Finally, to increase local biodiversity and increase nature in the borough to counter large-scale urbanisation. I consider this to be such an important issue, and we are owed more than the capitalist world that exists at the expense of the people, because this is our future, and we must ensure that the actions of the mass contributors do not go at the expense of our future. With the position of NYP, there is so much I can do to help so many people and really make a difference to help the climate change crisis.
I'm Iona. I have 3 initiatives I would love to implement if I became your Member of Youth Parliament. First, I would love to create a safe space for children and young people to engage in activities, but also receive free food, because who says no to free food? Second of all, I want targeted school uniforms. I've spent a lot of time in the school office feeling ill, and I've noticed that there's 30, 40 shirts hung up that no one's using, and sure, they're there in case somebody accidentally comes in their PE kit. But I know the students, maybe not in my school, maybe in the school next door or nearby, that could use those, that would lift a burden off their shoulders. And third of all, I'd like to allow more expression in schools, because in my school, if I were to wear this, that wouldn't be allowed. And it's not a question of health and safety with the pin keeping it on my cardigan, because we have other badges to represent our form and our year. But what I would really like to do is be able to wear a badge of my favourite brand or that represents my favourite film, so that if I notice somebody wearing a badge that I have a connotation of, I could speak to them about it. If I have a feeling about it, I could speak to them about it, and it would make... I want to go to school. I don't want to dress up every day and pick what I have to wear. I want to go in the same stuff every day, but I also want to go as myself every day, and having some form of self-expression is part of that. Thank you for listening. Vote for me, Iona.
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm a member of Wigan Youth Cabinet and BU. Did you know that approximately 6% of all children in the UK are disabled? However, disabled children are at least 3 times as likely to have things like depression. I want to change that by both improving access to mental health services and accessibility throughout Wigan and Leigh. Since going digital, a lot of places have lost their accessibility to those who need the services most, both those with mental disabilities and those with physical disabilities. Did you also know that 50% of all LGBT children have experienced symptoms of depression? We deserve better. LGBT people deserve a place where they feel safe and supported. School should be a safe place for those who are part of the community. However, it usually isn't, especially for those who are trans. So vote for me, Alice, for improvements to accessibility and support for LGBT youth.
Life as teenagers is hard. We all struggle with school, friends, and anything to do with the future. But there's one thing that we shouldn't be dealing with, and that's mental health. Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm advocating for mental health and domestic issues at home. My first point would be to improve and/or create a website for those with mental health, struggling with teenage pregnancy, issues at home, or any issues that a teenager goes through. I'm making this because I know these positions myself, and I want to be the type of person to help everyone in these situations. I'd also like to help and educate schools and students from a young age about safeguarding and confidentiality. Professionals need to understand that trust is important, and you need to be listened to without an action being taken if you feel that isn't necessary. Also, I believe that there should be better training for staff and volunteers for these situations, as not everyone understands these issues from another person's perspective, and that people should learn more about these situations so more people can be heard. And I also believe that if you vote for me, I'll be able to work with the WSCB to help with any situations necessary and to be able to move forward and help people with these situations. These situations can include yourself, family members or friends. So please vote for me, Emily Rigby, and I'll be able to help you with all of these issues. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Beth Brocken, and my 3 main points I'm going to be covering in my campaign is gender equality, more LGBTQ education in schools, and to make sure that teachers listen to young voices. When I focus on gender equality, I would like to make sure that whenever somebody walks into school, they feel like they're comfortable in what they're wearing or how they feel when they walk into school. So if a girl wants to wear pants, then she can, and even if a boy wants to wear a skirt, that's fine, and make it an option within the school uniforms. Also, I'd like to more LGBTQ education in schools so that it minimalises bullying against people who may feel a part of this community. It also makes that subject feel more natural and make people want to be more open about it. My final point of teachers listening to students and young voices in schools will help these points because if we can all work together, then these adults will be able to listen to us and we'll be able to make these things happen. Vote for me and I'll try and help these things happen.
When I talk about mental health, I am talking to every single one of you watching this video because mental health is a topic everybody needs to understand. Because even if you yourself are fine, how can you be so sure that the person sat next to you is? My name is Jemana Aref, and I don't just pledge, but I promise to implement change in the way we tackle mental health issues, not just locally, but nationally. I've always been someone who feels the need to make a difference every day, whether that be supporting a friend through a tough time, or even helping my family master a dance on TikTok. If I was elected MYP, a difference I would make is ensuring that every student has a chance to receive compulsory one-to-one support for their mental health in schools and colleges. This would allow those students that are afraid to speak up to be able to get the support they not only need but deserve. Next, did you know that 450 million people have underlying mental health conditions that go unnoticed every year? This is not okay. And I want everybody to have the chance to seek help for their minds the same way we seek help when we have broken a tooth. Therefore, I want more funding for mental health nurses in our education system. You're probably thinking, well, how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to work closely with Wigan Council and show them the statistics and show them how this has benefited children in the past all across our community. I'm not only doing this for me, I'm doing this for you, because I want to be the voice of all the people who haven't found their own voice yet. It would be an honour to be elected to be your MYP, because I wouldn't just be your MYP, I would be your friend. So vote for me, Jemana Aref, and let's combine our voices and help change our world for the better. Thank you.
Hate crime is on the rise. Hi, I'm Tasha, I'm 13 years old, and if you vote for me, I'm hoping to change that. Do you know what hate crime is? Many people don't. If I'm elected as MYP, I'm hoping to raise awareness about it around Wigan and Leigh. I believe that in schools, there should be more topics around hate crime. Hate crime isn't often talked about in schools, and I am hoping to change that. Hate crime is a massive issue, and I want you to know where to report it if you are a victim or if you witness a hate crime attack. I feel that everyone should have the right to be themselves and to feel comfortable in every environment. I'm Natasha, vote for me to be your MYP.
Hi, I'm Daisy and I'm 12 years old. You should vote for me because I would like to make free sports for under 16s because not everybody can afford the equipment and lessons. And it is also important to be physically healthy as it helps our mental health. I would also like to focus on a voice for teens because it's a young person's life, not an adult's. We should get a choice. The final thing I would like to do is create a safe environment because no one likes hanging out with their friends and not feeling safe. This would also involve free activities for young people to access. So vote for me, Daisy, for a voice, for a safe environment and to improve a young person's life.
When was the last time you were in class? and the teacher was explaining how to solve a problem or explain a method by analysing language or anything like that in general. And then all of a sudden, you get stuck. And even though you have no idea what's happening, the teacher continues to teach the lesson. It happens to the best of us. Without the foundation of a building, it'll come crashing down. The same goes for learning. Not understanding one section of a lesson can cause all sorts of problems along the line. My name's Jamie and I want to stop this. School, whether you like it or not, shapes our future and can determine how our life is set out for us. That's why it's important for us to understand every single step of the way. I will work with schools and senior decision makers to create solutions and implement change. This will make it easier for people who learn at different speeds to succeed to their maximum potential. I also want to push forward more technology into schools and ensure that everyone is kept up to speed with learning. I would do this by working with the relevant services and partners to help create a more effective working environment. Also, moving towards more technical solutions can help cut down costs and preserve the environment by cutting down less trees and reducing waste from stationery and other things like that. Everyone learns at a different speed. That's why you need to make the good choice, the right choice. Vote for me, Jamie Brown.
Between the years 2019 and 2020, 87.9% of students in Wigan compared to England alone, between the ages of 10 to 24, have been reported to have self-harmed due to mental health problems. We all have mental health, some good and some bad. We need to ensure that all young people have the right coping strategies to ensure they maintain a healthy well-being. My name's Jack Nothard and I'm here to tackle this issue. Students tend to get stressed and struggle to focus properly in their lives, especially after COVID-19. I'm sure we've all thought how we could tackle these issues. I'm trying to turn that thought into a reality. Many students in secondary schools often have no one to speak to, and when they do, it doesn't help whatsoever. With your vote, that could change. As a member of Youth Parliament, I would strive to make our Curriculum for Life lessons more proactive. This could be by having activities which could include having specialists that come into your lessons which would educate and support any issues you may have on any topic. They will be part of your lessons, your time, and any of your issues. You may have heard of CAMS, however the waiting list for that is outrageous. With your vote, I plan to work with commissioners and other organisations in order to properly fund this programme. This is to give all of you the right access you need for your mental well-being. So vote for me, Jack, to bring a positive change and to make sure all young people gain the right support that we deserve.